First up this afternoon is Michigan State University.
High quality, fresh, consistent, local. These are all traits consumers want to see in their food. But finding all of these attributes in a product as unique as goat meat can be a challenge. This is especially true for Americans of Arab, Caribbean, and Latino descent, who enjoy goat meat as a regular protein source and prefer goat meat for holidays and special events. Now, this is even more difficult for Arab American Muslims, whose holidays follow a lunar calendar as opposed to a Gregorian calendar, which creates movable feasts. Goat meat is the world's most consumed red meat. Surprising? Certainly, to many Americans who have never tried goat meat before. But this statistic is not so surprising to the over 100,000 Arab American Muslims who reside in the Greater Detroit metropolitan area. Good morning, Michigan Specialty Meat Cooperative Board of Directors. My name is Addie, and I am here today with Spartan Agri-Marketing, including Ricky and Beth, Tyler, Sarah, and Charles. As a leading specialty meat cooperative, you have effectively focused on reducing your members' input costs. But today, we are excited to share with you how to take your business to the next level. Spartan Agri-Marketing has prepared a marketing plan for you that will stabilize goat meat sales and maximize your members' profits. You will be positioned as the preferred year-round provider of goat meat for halal butcher shops. Goat meat will be marketed under the brand name Grazed Right Farms and will be known for its freshness, consistency, and quality, with goats raised locally and slaughtered under the highest commercial and faith-based standards. Now, to inform you more about your end user and consumer, Sarah and Ricky will present the market analysis.
Michigan is home to the largest community of Arabs outside of the Middle East. Since 1980, this ethnic population has tripled to almost 500,000 people. 80% of these Arab Americans reside within just 3 counties: Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne County, which is home to the city of Detroit. Of these Arab Americans in the Greater Detroit metropolitan area, or GDM area, studies show that 25%, or approximately 100,000 people, are Muslim.
Market research has shown that Arab American Muslims prefer to purchase their products from neighborhood halal butcher shops, but a lack in supply of fresh goat meat has caused these butcher shops to import goat meat. From 2004 to 2011, the amount of imported goat meat has increased by more than 75% and currently accounts for 20% of all goat meat consumption in the U.S.
The Muslim population in the GDM area is younger and seeks higher education at almost twice the national average, leading to higher incomes and higher socioeconomic standing. They recognize the importance of brands, with 60% placing brand loyalty over price sensitivity. Usually, the male head of the household is the primary purchaser of goods, but the female head is a strong influencer of these buying decisions. Our research has concluded that Arab American Muslims currently consume nearly 16 pounds of goat meat per year, resulting in 1.6 million pounds demanded in the GDM area alone. These trends have led Spartan Agri-Marketing to determine that the Arab American Muslim population in the GDM area is your most promising market segment.
To place your product in the market, Spartan Agri-Marketing realizes that your main customer is neighborhood halal butcher shops in the GDM area. Halal is a term used to describe any object or action which is permissible under Islamic law, including foods that can be consumed and how these foods must be prepared. In the GDM area, there are 96 of these halal butcher shops. They are well established and best described as small, family-owned shops within walking distance of 72% of their customer base. Due to this proximity, a majority of end users purchase their products from 1 or 2 butcher shops.
Spartanagger Marketing has identified the following slaughtering facilities as strategic partners: Sod Meats, Barry & Sons, and Wolverine Packing. These are USDA inspected and certified halal processors in the GDM area. These processors are a prominent source of goat meat to butcher shops and have existing relationships, but they lack a stable year-round supply and are unable to meet current demand. You will be able to fill this void. To help me explain our business proposition, Beth will begin by analyzing your firm.
To further evaluate your market, we have compiled a SWOT analysis to examine Graze-Right Farm's success in future years. This product has several key advantages that your consumer desires. First, it is a fresh, never frozen product that will be available year-round by year 3. Furthermore, it's a branded product that is locally sourced from established farms in Michigan. Finally, it offers the halal butcher shops a combination of quality and consistent pricing. Even so, there are some weaknesses that we must acknowledge. It does require a tight coordination of supply to change our production practices to meet and to align with increased demands during Muslim holidays. Furthermore, it is entering the market as a niche product and has a somewhat premium price that may discourage some potential purchasers. Finally, it is a newly established brand that must build brand awareness and attention for the advantages that it possesses.
It is also important to examine the external threats that could arise. A growing availability of non-traditional halal meat could increase the number of substitutes for goat, like the halal chicken nuggets served in some Detroit area McDonald's. The introduction of an unknown brand and uncertainty with the credibility of the halal butchering process could create trust issues. Furthermore, goats are an agricultural venture and are subjective to issues that affect production. Finally, as the goat meat market becomes more recognized and prominent, more competitors could appear. Notwithstanding, there are still a great number of opportunities for Graze-Right Farms. An increasing Muslim population can increase the market size for your product. And, as Arab American Muslims are not the only consumers of goat meat, you can expand into the American Caribbean, Arab Christian, and Latino markets. Also, an unstable lamb price may cause consumers to look for a meat substitute like goat, while a desire to decrease our dependence on imports and an increasing demand for local products will likely encourage consumers to seek food sources closer to home. And lastly, a greater and more accessible supply of quality meat would allow potential consumers to eat goat year-round.
However, there is some competition that Graze-Right Farms will have to overcome, including from direct-to-consumer sales, imported goat meat, local auctions, as well as indirectly from lamb, which is often used as a substitute for goat meat. As you can see in the competitive analysis table in the executive summary, Graze-Right Farms is the only product that offers strengths in all 5 attributes listed, as it is locally sourced, fresh never frozen, offers a year-round supply, is quality assured, and has a consistent price.
In order for Graze-Right Farms to be competitive, Spartanagger Marketing has identified key assumptions that will have to exist for your product to be successful. These include the expectations that the Muslim population will be stable or will experience growth. The Muslim community will continue to prefer goat meat for holidays and special events. Goats will be slaughtered under contract with your 3 strategic partners, and meat will be sold to halal butcher shops under a long-term marketing contract. Also, we predict that co-op members will be able to adjust their production schedules to meet market demand. As long as these assumptions hold true, our strategy will prove to be advantageous. To discuss this strategy further, Charles and Beth will present the action plan.
Your strategy will be to provide goat meat to halal butcher shops in the GDM area branded under the name Graze-Right Farms. This meat will be sold to the Arab American Muslim community in the GDM area with the ability to provide these end users with a year-round supply of meat by year 3. This strategy will help you to achieve the following goals. Achieve a market share of 20% of the overall goat meat consumption in the GDM area. Reach a return on marketing investment of 150%. Earn a profit of $500,000. Attain a brand awareness of 60%. And finally, maintain a 98% customer satisfaction while striving for 100%.
Spartan Agri-Marketing has developed a coordinated supply chain for Graze Right Farms. The average cost of production off the farm will be $1 per pound. Goats will be transported to one of your 3 partner slaughter facilities. Once processed, goat carcasses will be transported via refrigerated truck to the halal butcher shops. At this point in the supply chain, your costs on average will be $2 a pound, with these prices based on carcass weight.
Based on this supply chain and Arab American Muslim preferences, we suggest that you raise 70 to 80 pound goats to dress out and sell 40-pound carcasses slaughtered under halal guidelines to halal butcher shops for the price of $5.50 per pound. We then recommend that your customers resell Graze Right Farms to the consumer at an average price of $7 per pound. This price will depend on whether the carcass is being sold whole, has been cut and divided in half, or is being sold in retail cuts. This retail price offers advantages for both the halal butcher shops and for your producers. For the halal butcher shops, it offers the potential for a 27% markup, as well as a less volatile procurement cost and a year-round supply. For your member producers, it offers at least $50 more per goat than the average alternative marketing method, as well as a stable market allowing your producers to expand goat sales.
Your biggest demand occurs during the Muslim holidays, which are based on a lunar calendar and therefore change from year to year. Your rollout in the GDM area will require tight coordination of supply to meet this changing demand. Beginning in 2014, you will supply fresh goat meat for the major Muslim holidays, including Ramadan, Festival of Sacrifice, and Islamic New Year. This will equate to a 6-month period of supply overlapping these holidays. In year 2, you will expand the amount of time you have fresh goat meat to 9 months out of the year. By year 3, you will be able to provide Graze Right Farms year-round to butcher shops to reach the goal of achieving a 20% market share in your target market. Addie will now join me to discuss the promotional strategies for this rollout.
Promotional strategies will be based upon this calendar rollout. To align with the launch of our product, we have a heavily saturated plan for the first year, focusing primarily on brand awareness. We will begin these promotions 2 months prior to the start of Ramadan, and the supply of meat available to butcher shops will coincide with Ramadan in 2014. By year 3, we will have promotions occurring year-round. However, they will still be oriented around the demand-driven holidays.
MSMC will hire an account manager who is male and has experience with the Islamic Arab culture. He will work with your primary customer, the halal butcher shops, to build key long-term relationships as well as achieve the outlined sales goals. More specifically, he's responsible for managing company marketing, public relations, and sales promotional programs.
Market research has shown that this niche market prefers media that has been produced by fellow Arab Americans and tend to shy away from mainstream media. In addition, 86% are likely to purchase a product that has been advertised on Arab American media. Therefore, advertisements will be placed across Arab American radio networks in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. Web advertisements will be placed on Arab American websites, online newsletters, and blogs. Social media sites such as Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest will also be utilized. Graze Right Farms account manager will run print ads in influential community newsletters such as Islamic Horizons and the Muslim Observer.
To help build brand awareness, Graze Right Farms will sponsor a meal at the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Benefit Gala in Dearborn, Michigan. This will introduce Graze Right Farms to the halal butcher shop owners, as well as to the Arab and Muslim communities.
Grace Wright Farms account manager will work closely with local butcher shop owners to develop point-of-sale displays, which prominently feature the Grace Wright Farms logo. These displays will include informational brochures and recipe cards. Shop owners, as well as end users, will be invited to attend farm tours to help them better understand the process of raising goats. A meal featuring Grace Wright Farms meat will be provided, and the account manager, as well as producers, will be available to answer any questions they may have. Tyler will now cover the financial evaluation.
Let's take a look at the cost of these promotional tactics. As you can see in the marketing budget of the executive summary, the budget is laid out into years 1, 2, and 3 and follows the calendar year expansion of our rollout. Spartan Agri Marketing has projected that the promotional expenses will begin at $159,000 in year 1 and increase to $170,000 in year 3. Looking at the income statement, it is projected that your first year's gross sales will be $825,000 and will grow to a projected $1.8 million. As production increases, your expenses will increase at a proportional rate, reaching $650,000 by year 3. The marketing expenses include both the promotional budget and the monitoring expenses, which together total $180,000 in year 1 and expand to $215,000 in year 3. One of the most important aspects of staying in business is to be profitable. Regarding this, net profit is expected to reach more than $340,000 by the end of year 1 and increase to over an astounding $925,000 by the end of year 3 of rollout. This equates to $113 per animal profit for your producers. Sarah and Ricky will now assess monitoring and measurement.
In order for any business venture to be successful, the goals will have to be monitored and measured. To achieve a market share of 20%, goat meat receipts in the GDM area will be analyzed. If the share is insufficient, consumer surveys will be conducted to identify areas of improvement, while considering the increase of promotions or adding an additional account manager. If the goal is exceeded, marketing strategies will be continued while increasing product and customer diversity.
Quarterly financial reports will be reviewed to measure your goal of reaching a return on investment of 150%. If this goal is less than expected, it will be determined if costs or revenues are misaligned while seeking to reduce marketing costs and increasing sales. If this goal is exceeded, you should work to build the consumer base while increasing production.
To reach a profit of $500,000, quarterly sales reports and financial statements will be analyzed. If less than projected, business expenses will be reviewed to evaluate inefficiencies in production and to determine if the price point is accurate. But if profits soar, market share and market diversity will be expanded to continue increasing profits.
To obtain 60% brand awareness, semi-annual brand recognition surveys will be conducted. If this goal is less than expected, current customer surveys will be reviewed and promotional tactics will be increased to maximize brand retention. If this goal is exceeded, you should work to strengthen current customer relationships while building the consumer base.
To maintain customer satisfaction of 98%, formal customer surveys will be performed during August and December. If feedback is negative, we will determine areas of dissatisfaction and address areas of needed improvement, such as cuts of meat or culinary practices. If satisfaction is achieved, current strategies will be expanded on by utilizing customer testimonials and implementing philanthropy projects. If this marketing plan is fully utilized, Grazed Right Farms will see profound success and will thrive as a brand in this growing market.
The benefits of your product paired with this readily available target market has an astronomical potential for success. Your producers will have a reliable outlet for their goats, and the butcher shop owners will be able to provide their customers with a high quality, fresh, consistently priced local product. By working together with Spartan Agri Marketing, this business venture will be profitable and sustainable for years to come. Thank you for your time, ladies and gentlemen. We will now be happy to entertain any questions you may have for us.
Oh, you want me to start, do you? Okay. All righty, I guess I'll start. You mentioned a number of times that your marketing information or surveys or whatever it is show. Where are you really getting that information? Is it primary surveys? What are you doing? Is it secondary type stuff? Where did you get the information from?
These surveys have been conducted by a third party. It's primarily Allied Media, which is a marketing firm that conducts research in the Arab American community.
Did they do those surveys in your target market?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I have a little bit of a question and maybe a concern on a single account manager. We've got 96 markets to cover initially, and plus being responsible for all the marketing activity, promotional activity, et cetera. Can you give some justification to having one person try to shoulder kind of that burden for our first year, if indeed we got to be making a lot of tracks that first year?
The account manager will not be working towards all 96 butcher shops, but rather for by year 3, 20% of the entire goat meat consumption. So that would average about 16 to 24 butcher shops. So he would not be hitting the entire market, just a smaller percentage.
I had a question along a similar line. You're looking for an Arab American for that particular job who maybe, tell me a little bit about this person and how you would find them. Knows a little bit about the meat industry, knows about agriculture, knows about marketing. That seems like somebody that's hard to find. How would you find that person?
I think that the greatest place to look would be in the Dearborn area itself, to find someone that's grown up in the area, grown up eating goat meat, and has a familiarity with that. For the agricultural portion of it, while they do have to have some sort of a basis idea of how goat is produced, that can be more of your job as members of the board of directors. You are more responsible for the production end of it, understanding how your producers are going to make it. He can set the guidelines and understand what it takes to become halal, but for implementing it, for having more common production practices, which you commonly do, and you have already done with your producers. So this end of it, you're looking for someone generally from the Dearborn area then with a business background that is more oriented towards like the food industry side.
You made the case that this audience, your target audience, is very loyal to brands, yet you have a brand new brand. So what tactics in your plan are going to address most effectively that shift from no knowledge to brand advocacy?
Well, we are directly working with the halal butcher shops, who they have very close relationships with. They're their neighborhood shops. Furthermore, there are no current branded meat products, goat meat products. So we're not breaking off a brand that they're currently using. They're kind of using a generic goat meat as a commodity item. So but in that instance, we're not really competing with another brand, and we're just going to try and, once we hook them, then they will be more likely to stay with us as they have a higher percentage of brand awareness and or brand retention.
Excuse me. Looking at the quantity and what we're expecting to sell in the first year, that 150,000 pounds, looking at one goat producing a 40-pound carcass, that's an additional about 3,700 goats. Is that capacity to have available in that 6 months and still meet the demands that we already have in the marketplace? Because I assume we don't have 3,700 goats just waiting to do something with them.
Well, currently your producers have enough goats to supply the goats needed by year 3. Currently, they're just using auctions and direct-to-consumer sales to sell these goats. So they will have enough, and only a portion of these goats will be going under the brand name of Graze Right Farms.
Okay, it looks like you mostly have a pull-through strategy here where you're trying to get out to customers and have them go into the shops and buy it. Am I correct in that assessment?
We will be utilizing both a pull and push strategy. For the pull portion of our strategy, Ronnie, could you please bring up the promotional budget breakdown? Thank you. We will be utilizing all of these media sources to pull the consumers to the butcher shops, interesting them in our product. It will be the responsibility of the account manager to then push the product to the butcher shops and generate their interest.
Okay, how are you going to help him do that?
Well, Spartan Agri-Marketing has developed items such as the point-of-sale displays, which will be available to be placed into butcher shops.
That's a pull-through. Now, the push is to actually get these people to accept the product. So we have to show these people in some way that the meat is better than what they have now. It's more consistent, and they really need to be carrying it. So how are we going to do that? Not trying to be difficult, I'm just kind of wondering.
Can you put out the account manager slide, please? As a portion of his salary, which he's getting that up here, as a portion of his salary, he has a selling expense account, which will be things like taking them out to dinner, building relationships with these halal butcher shops to get this one-on-one relationship with them, to get them to trust him and realize, let him say the benefits of the product and get them to realize that they should be offering this to their customers. Does that kind of answer your question then?
Yes and no, but I'll accept it. Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about the pricing of the imported products right now, the competition for what you're bringing to the market?
The pricing of import products fluctuates and is very volatile because of global conditions. The majority of the imported goat meat is coming from Australia at this time. The prices of this meat of a lesser quality is usually around $4 per pound. And at the higher end, depending on how volatile the market is, it could be up to $7 per pound.
At retail?
Yes, retail price.
You have a $2 input cost that spreads across all 3 years of the budget. In an agricultural marketplace, there's a lot of variabilities that come into play: feed, demand, certainly transportation costs. If we've got 2 transportation costs in that cycle, how are we maintaining a $2 input cost across the whole budget as an expense?
Ronnie, can you please bring up the production cost slide? So talking with your member producers, we've seen that there are 3 major costs associated with their production. There's facilities, labor, and feed, with feed being the highly variable one. We've talked with them, and they've said that it costs 4 cents to 17 cents per day to raise these goats for approximately 150 days, 5 months, to market size. So we have developed all of your costs at 17 cents a day to account for any variable feed fluctuations, anything like that. This equates to 65 cents per pound. So that's where your production cost numbers are coming from. Also, we take an average transportation cost, as most of your producers are in southeast Michigan, and so there's not much difference in their transportation costs there. Once they hit the refrigerated truck, it is more expensive, but because it is closer to the final customer, the halal butcher shops, we kept it at the same price because of the less distance.
Furthermore, all input costs have been averaged off over 6 years to come up with the prices that they used.
I have a question about you said that the male head of household did most of the buying and the female head of household was the influencer in that case. So what do you know about the differences between them and their media use and how did that affect the choices of media that you made and where you put the allocations?
When we were deciding where to best place our media usage, we do realize that while males may not utilize social media as much as women do, the social media gives us a great opportunity to pinpoint our target market. We can reduce the range that our information is being distributed to demographically, to the greater Detroit metropolitan area, and then once again by religion. So we can really focus on that target market. Does that answer your question?
Sort of. It doesn't really tell me how you chose, which were the places where you spent the most or the least. You have a broad range of media.
Yes.
Do you know that they'll use those media choices?
Yes, and the media choices that we have listed in our slides are all community-based media. So we feel that will really give us the most brand awareness in the niche community that we are focusing on.
That's time. Thank you guys.